The Bipolar Vegan. Be the change.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the next interview in the podcast vlog for the Bipolar Vegan. Today I've got Scott Carlile. We met around 8 years ago while he was working at Hot Flame in Livingston. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Hi, so my name's Scott Carlile. Like Stephen says, we've known each other for 8 years. When that was like one of my jobs at Lothian, yeah. And then I'm basically from Livingston, yeah. I've been in Livingston all my life. Well, grew up in Livingston, born in Livingston. I went out of Livingston for a wee bit, a period of time. Moved to Glasgow and then came back again, yeah. I did a wee funny fact about me is I was born in a leap year, so the 29th of February. Yeah, and
So you're a quarter of your actual age.
yeah, I know. So I'm only 8 year old, really. Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, so let's start with your mental health. Obviously talk about a number of things today. But if we start with your mental health, depression, stress, and anxiety, which has led to you going on to medication, doing courses, and having to take time off work for periods of time. So you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so basically, it's kind of like hit me since a very young age, since a teenager, but I wasn't really diagnosed with depression until basically earlier on this year. I kind of thought, because I didn't think anything of it, but I thought to action it now. It kind of kick-started with getting bullied at school, primary school, high school. Because you're young, you don't really think of it that way. And then just having a strict upbringing, like my mum and dad are old-fashioned. My dad's like an ex-army soldier, so really military discipline, strict. So that kind of like affected me, getting me into depression and all that as well. I wasn't allowed when I was younger. I wasn't allowed to do whatever teenagers did when they were younger. And then as growing up, that's what kind of like I was catching up when I was like older, yeah. And then
Mhm.
so I just thought I'd had to deal with it because growing up, that it was kind of affecting me working wise as well. And I was like, no, this can't be done. So I went to the doctors. Actually, before the doctors, I went to a mental health group in East Calder first.
Mhm.
Um, that was good. Through you know him as well, David Phillip.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
he organised he organised it with Scott Payton. That and then that kind of really got me into like talking to people, talking about, and then that kind of realised that I need to deal with something now. I need to go to the doctors and get help. Yeah,
Did
and
you
then
did you
just
find it help? Sorry, did you find it helpful talking about your experiences with other people to get like different experience, perspective on things?
aye. So the first kind of couple of weeks, I just sat back, listened to people, but then after that, because it opened up, because I got to know the guys a bit more, and like I wasn't alone, and yeah, and then I got to spoke about my experiences, yeah, and I wasn't
Mhm.
wasn't judged. I wasn't. It was good, like good company. I wasn't judged, yeah, and then I felt that's what made me go to well. What made me go to the doctors was because I had a couple of jobs and like in a suit shop and a shoe shop, and then that kind of I was taking time off work and that, and I was like, well, it's like it is the work, but it's me as well. I can't even just blame the work. It's me as well. So I went to doctors and got and they recommended that you actually came with me to the St John the Wellbeing Hub at St John's. I went to the Bog Hall one as well. Kind of went through the different six sessions with them. That kind of really went in depth detail about stress, anxiety. This anxiety's been niggling in me since a young age, but stress probably has grown up, yeah. But it's probably different factors in my life. Has hit me with bad relationships. And then after one bad relationship finishes, like I think it's going, I jump to another one quickly, and think, oh, that's me, but then it doesn't work out again, and I'm back to square one again. What kind of hits me the most is still back to the mother of my daughter. Yeah, that kind of still brings back bad memories. Yeah, even to this day.
Are you happy to talk a bit more about that, about your relationship?
Yeah. So basically, kind of the same year I met you in 2015, I made a good friend, you, and I met like a girl, like she had good common interest the same as me, like music wise, and I met her at the time. Sadly, the venue's not there anymore, the O2 ABC in Glasgow, for the Fight Star concert, and then met her there. And after that, I think I jumped in quickly though. It was quick as well because after 9 months, I moved in with her in Glasgow, um, and I moved in with her, and we got engaged as well. Yeah, and then a couple of months after that, my daughter was born, and then we got a new house after that, just down the road, and then after that, like a friend that I know, like he was always a best friend, but never seen him for years and years, and then we finally got in touch, and then he was on the scene for a bit. We went out, went out like just like having a drink and that. Went to the pictures, and then all of a sudden, just things were changing because she cheated on me with my best friend at the time, a guy, isn't it? Well, he's originally from Aberdeen, yeah. And then after that, I found myself just I stayed in the house that we were living at. She moved out, and then I just was in a downward spiral for about 6 to 8 months. So I wasn't eating properly. I was going out drinking a lot. Like just trying to sleep around as well. Sometimes I was successful, sometimes I wasn't. During that time, I was even getting into like I was even getting into coke as well. Yeah, I was actually sniffing coke. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's no usually like me. Yeah, but I've stopped all that. Yeah, luckily I only done it for about like a couple of months or something. But even those couple of months, I didn't do it every week. It was only like the odd kind of weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Then
mean,
after
I think
that, yeah, after
so.
that, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think during periods like that, when you're struggling, it's a case of trying to reach out for things that are going to alleviate you, or you think that are going to alleviate you, going to illicit substances and stuff like that. I found that myself as a way of coping, as a coping strategy, because medication or therapies, whatever, not particularly working or doesn't have that instant fix or that instant, solution where, drugs, alcohol, that kind of thing, people are, it's maybe a bit more readily available and it's that kind of instant gratification or that instant release or relief from the of life,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
if you felt the same way.
No, I felt the same way. Yeah, I felt the same way. And then, but after that, I managed to get myself into college, and then that was my in the straight and narrow again. So I done that for like a couple of years. It was hard while living alone still, and even during college, I was just battling court. I'm still battling court to this day, getting access to my daughter. But I was even beyond that, battling court with just accusations. My ex accusing me of like stalking, harassing, even though I was just trying to get access to my daughter, and that led to the that led to the police a couple of times at my door, yeah, and even spending a night a night or even a bank holiday in the cells that was scary, yeah, that was scary time. And then I was out in bail for a bit, and then after that, about like 9 months later, it kind of dragged on a bit. But 9 months later, I managed to clear my name. Yeah, clear my name. Got found innocent in that. Yeah, during that time. Yeah,
That must have been a relief for you.
I know it was. Yeah, it was a good relief. Yeah. Mm. And then after that, just I kind of put my head down and just studied at college, done my HND in retail management for 2 years, then went beyond that and during lockdown done a year at uni, third year at uni, yeah, in supply chain management, yeah. And I've no kind of looked back since, yeah.
Sorry,
I've
what
kind
was
of
it you knew again?
so I did international supply chain management at uni, yeah. So education wise has been a success. I'm still kind of still getting there job wise. The job has been kind of like a bumpy road job wise. Like I thought I've nailed it jobs and then doesn't work out because of my mental health as well, anxiety, having to take time off. And then employers don't understand that, even though they should. Certain employers I've worked for haven't understood that and have led me to just getting paid off, or I've had to leave myself, yeah. And yeah, so yeah. So I'm still kind of looking for that ideal opportunity work-wise, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously you mentioned about your daughter and the kind of legal aspect of that. And am I right saying currently you've got no access to her? Is that right?
No, so I still don't have any access now. That's been ongoing since 2018. What didn't help was lockdown in 2020, 21. And at the time, like different jobs, I was only working part-time and my income changed because of college as well. So getting legal aid was a struggle. And then some lawyers wouldn't see me because I didn't have the money, and then some lawyers wouldn't see me because I didn't have legal aid. Finally got legal aid, just back and forth letters, and then there was a time where I just gave up. I gave up for a good year. I gave up, and which is not good in myself, but I felt I need to sort myself out before I can look after my daughter and when I get access to her. And then after I cleared my head for about a good year, I tried to fight again, went back. I managed to go to court. And the judge basically said, like, I even said, look, I went back to college for a couple of years to, not just for me, but for my daughter, so she can have a good future. And the judge just slammed me down and said, oh, so you chose college and your mental health before your daughter? And I didn't really even know how to answer that. Yeah, I was just gobsmacked. Yeah. No,
It's been really difficult. Yeah.
yeah, and then that's kind of like put me down the ladder again. Yeah, like I lost confidence again. Like since ever she said that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bound to, because obviously you're trying your best to try and better yourself and get into a better headspace, to be able to, be there for your daughter
Mhm.
and to be told that, that route is perceived as being you not wanting the best for your daughter and stuff like that is a kind of contradictory statement, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
you're wanting to get into that place where it's a positive thing, but then getting told by a judge that actually that goes against you. You know, it can't be an easy scenario at all.
No, it's not. It's not easy at all, yeah. And it kind of
So
just put me backwards again, yeah.
yeah. So what was the kind of outcome from that then? Is there any plans in the future in terms of
Um,
yeah, you need to be in a stable position for access, or is it something that it's like, okay, right, we're gonna get revisited again in 12 months' time, or what's the
well,
situation?
there's still like nothing like set down in stone yet. I am getting court dates, but then there's times where the defender will just come out with excuses like she's not well, or or she can't go because she's going through phases of what I go through, like depression, anxiety, suppose, and then to me, like if I was to say all that, I'd get slammed down. But yeah, it's it's okay for her to say that.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I understand people having mental health and all that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
of course, because you're going through it yourself, you know, but you're saying it, it's like one rule for them, one rule for you. It's like it's kind of hypocritical, really, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Basically, yeah. Aye. So that's where I am now with that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's like
But
can't be
then,
easy, can't be easy. But
and then I feel like I don't have answers for like my family. Like sometimes that's why I don't like visiting my family because I always feel like I have to answer to them. Oh, when you seen Luna, when you seen Luna. Well, why are you going out all the time? You need to remember you've got a daughter and all that. And I was like, yeah, but you just like I'm not going to just sit around in my house and twiddle my thumbs. Like I'll deal with that when my life changes.
yeah.
Yeah, I understand. I won't be able to go out more or do this or do that. Well, like I know, but I'll deal with that when the time comes. Mm, yeah.
So you had said earlier about obviously the strictness of your family, and you had a bad relationship with your dad with him being army strict. You want to maybe elaborate on that? Tell us more about that.
So, so I've kind of had like a kind of tough love upbringing. My my mum's really old fashioned, like kind of like hit you with a wooden spoon kind of thing, or kind of that. My dad, it was always like a dad had to deal with me. So he's like an ex-army soldier, ex like army military kind of background. So like before school, I had to polish my shoes, polish them when I come back. When I finished school, I had like I couldn't just hang around with my pals after school. I had to be back home half an hour later. Dinner on the table by a certain time, 5 o'clock. Had to be in my bed at a certain time, like 10:30. And as I got older, like 18, I couldn't go out to nightclubs with my friends because there was no point. Like I was allowed to go out, but then there was no point because my dad was like, right, come home for 10, 10:30. Like that's when the nightclub's open.
Hmm.
There was no point there. And when when I did have kind of different girlfriends, I had to have the door open in my bedroom. Um, like even though like I had a strict upbringing, I was spoiled though. I kind of so there was like kind of, but maybe because he was strict, he had control over me. So maybe that's why I was spoiled. So I was spoiled in a way like I would always get the new games when they came out, or the new CDs and when they came out, and new DVDs. So like I kind of got away with stuff that way. Like I was always spoiled that way. Yeah, like getting
Hmm.
everything brand new. I was always the kid in high school who will look at me like everyone that's got the new PlayStation, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it was like
right.
that kind of compromising. They were giving you these gifts in return favor of you following the rules, etc. But
Yeah,
then it's like, well, it's a kind of confusing time growing up where you've got these rules and being strict and stuff like that. But then it was rewarded for that behavior. So
mm,
then you're gonna, I suppose maybe seek that kind of similar type of relationship with other people growing up and getting older, not expecting it from them that such, but that if you jump through these hoops, you're going to get this kind of thing. And I suppose that might lead into what we're going to talk about in a minute about your I'll use the word obsession,
aye,
uh, not lightly, but in a sense where it's like a learned behavior. You know, I know you in terms of like from a collector of memorabilia, film and movie stuff, but well, we'll jump into it basically because it kind of leads into that. So, obviously, a thing we have in common is our love for like cinema and movies, in particular, like Marvel and DC. But this is also can be perceived as an addiction.
oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, tell us about that side of things.
Yeah, so like I've always been into like Marvel DC since a wee boy, like the animated 90s cartoons, X-Men, Spider-Man. My dad taking me to the Bathgate Market and then getting all the wee toys and all that, and then going to like different Comic Cons as a young age, with my dad that way, and don't know, and then like my mum and dad kind of thought I'd grow out of it, but no, it's stuck with me even to like the age I am now, and I like it. But then I think it was all right, like when I was getting bought them, but then as soon as I got older, started working all that, um, it's it's a hobby, but it's led into more than a hobby. It's led into like being a hoarder, an obsession, an addiction.
Almost like a compulsive need to collect things
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah.
Like I think because I grew up get, getting everything at the time it came out, I think I've always had that concept. I'm kind of getting better now, but when I was younger, I used to be really bad. Even that past like couple of years, just I always had to get everything I see. I always had to get everything like with the click of my fingers, like now, now, now. So yeah, always just yeah. And then just seeing the new stuff and having to have it, and like sometimes leading back to 2010 when I got my first flat. That was kind of a reason why I used to get behind in my bills as well, my bills and my rent, just because I was just throwing money away at like just all the new Marvel and DC stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a lot to show for it. Yeah, I've got a lot to show for it. A lot in my dad's garage, a lot in my room. Yeah, I do have like hopefully some of the stuff's worth a lot of money in the future. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm
I mean,
quite
you know, collectible. I mean, like I understand the that side of things. Collector. I like shiny things. You know, it's like that kind of
Mhm.
magpie side of things where it's like, oh, something new, quite fancy that. But personally, I've always kind of shied away from collecting something like that, because as soon as I start, I know that I would be able to stop. It's almost
Oh, yeah.
like a compulsion type thing, you know. And
Mhm.
currently, my situation is that I've not got the space because I'm living with my parents at the moment. I know that when I get my own place, then it'll open up that kind of door of wanting to collect things, to have them and stuff like that. I'm kind of I love kind of collecting movies and stuff like that, and I'm on a a hunt for 3D Blu-rays, for instance, at the moment, and picking them up
Mhm.
second hand, because even though like 3D technology didn't really take off, it wasn't as popular, I can pick up secondhand 3D movies from places like charity shops or
Mhm.
CEX or something like that for a fraction of the price. And I've got
Mhm.
my 3D TV, and I love the technology. It's the passive 3D, which is the same as the cinema. So it's not the active, the shutter either eye type thing. So that's my um I wouldn't as go as far as saying obsession, but if I go into a shop knowing that they might have 3D Blu-rays, I'll go and have a look. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
um that's my thing, and I don't see that necessarily as a problem, but
Mhm.
I understand your position where when it gets to a point where you're getting yourself into debt, or not able to pay the bills because you need to have this new figurine or this new
Game and DVD. Yeah.
game, DVD, whatever it is, um I can understand that mindset. But it must be so difficult as well, because you're kind of pulled. It's almost like this is like a self-soothe thing. It's a escapism. It's a way of coping as well. Just like any addiction, any drug, it's a coping strategy. Um, it's when it becomes an unhealthy obsession.
Mhm.
It's I suppose it's linked in with that kind of OCD hoarding side of things. I mean, I'm a
Mhm.
hoarder as well, but it's stuff, it's rubbish, it's like, I'll keep letters and post and stuff like that, and I don't chuck things away. Do you know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
find my room is just filled with rubbish, you know. Whereas if I had a room, a house or a room that was dedicated to this, the good stuff,
Mhm.
I'd be able to deal with that,
Yeah.
So yeah, I
I
think
managed to,
that's, sorry, what was that?
I managed to kind of discipline myself now because, like, I know I don't have the money for it now. I know I've only got money to pay bills and a wee bit to go out to the cinema and all that, and go out and understand it now. Yeah, so I kind of went off that for a bit, a good couple of years now. Yeah, I still buy the odd thing here and there. Yeah, but it's not like the one week it used to be like what 100 stuff like coming through the post. Yeah, yeah. Mm.
Yeah, so obviously we touched on previously about what we had in common in terms of a love for cinema and movies, etc. Do you want to talk about your love for cinema, movies, and concerts and stuff like that?
Yeah, so since a wee boy again, um, my 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 mum and dad always used to take me to the cinema. Then that's kind of started my love of like the cinema and films. And then ever since like a teenager, like first year, really like going to the cinema on a Friday after school. That used to be my kind of cinema day, with my pocket money, and then just got like hooked into it. Like just I like seeing different films, like but then like I'll always be the Marvel and DC films for me. And then even though I'm only 35, I've seen so many people play Spider-Man, Batman, Superman. I've seen so many people, play them, but I just like over the years, I've liked all the different graphics, the animations, the filmography, just storylines and all that. Yeah, so yeah, I just always been, and then I like I love horror as well. Like obviously, like before I was 18, I didn't like I seen the odd horror here and there, kind of like, but then I got to expand in horror because like I was 18, so I got to see horror films at the cinema. So yeah, there's a great deal of love for that as well. Like I do go to the cinema. I go to the cinema quite often actually. I've got a cinema card, Cineworld card. Before I even knew a cinema card existed, I used to spend a fortune again on the cinema. Like a couple of hundred a month. But the cinema card's good, only £16.99 a month, and you get to see all the films you want. And then I tried, like I know I'm quite up to date with all the films that are coming out every week. And then I try, when in a busy life schedule, I try and go as much as I can every week, at least once a week,
Yeah.
I know I've been in the cinema a few times with you and see all the Marvel films and DC films,
Yeah.
So when it comes to, I felt like I'll see all the films that come out in the cinema, but when I'm quite selective when it comes to like DVDs and Blu-rays. It'll just be like the Marvel and DC films and horror films that are my collection on my shelf and all that. Like any other films I just kind of try and avoid, so that's where it comes to films, Concerts I love. It's an expensive hobby again, relates to money. I can that can be a wee bit of addiction as well, but not as worse as my figure collections. But yeah, like I go to a lot of concerts, probably too much, than I should be, But I've seen quite a lot of concerts over the past couple of years, like Arctic Monkeys, Kasabian. My favourite bands are Buffy and McFly. I follow them. I follow them all the time. So that's not just like a concert to me. That's my favourite band. My following. But that's like people supporting a football team. So like I support them. So I follow them everywhere they go.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then just I've kind of disciplined myself now. But there used to be like times where a band would tour, and then a couple of weeks later they would announce another tour, and I would be straight on the internet buying tickets again. But I thought to myself, oh wait, like I've already seen them. Like I don't need to see them next year again. Like fair enough if it's like been 10 years they've been away and reunited and came back, then fair enough. But not not when I've just seen them. Yeah, so,
Yeah, so what do you kind of get out of the, is it like the thrill of seeing them multiple times? Is it a different experience each time? Is it a different venue? Is it going with different people? Is it going yourself? What's the kind of draw for you?
so I get different experiences. There are times where I've just went myself before I've met certain people, and then there's certain people that share same interests as me, so I go with them. So that's given me another different experience going with someone else. There's been times where the band's been away for a few years and come back, so that's a whole new different experience and a whole new different venue. So they brought like new albums out. They brought new albums out, so that's a whole new experience. But if it's just a band that have toured and then they've not brought any new albums out and then they're just doing another tour for the sake of it, then it's not really a new experience, no. You just go there kind of because like you like them basically, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sorry.
No. There's times where there's bands that I've grew up with and it's been my generation, and then I go up, then I feel old because the crowd there, even though it was my band at the time, not their band, and they don't even know like some of their songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then they're just going there for a night out. But then it's it's not just a night out to me. It's because like I like the band.
Yeah, I mean, I had the first concert that I went to, and really one of the only ones I went to, was Robbie Williams when he was in his heyday up at Hampden. Because I've got social anxiety, I find crowds extremely difficult. So the thought of being, you know, so close to people and stuff like that, quite daunting. But it was a really good experience. But it was funny because the supporting acts, one of them was ABC, and obviously at the time, the majority of fans of Robbie Williams were teenagers, and they'd never heard of ABC. You know, obviously I grew up with ABC and stuff like that, so I'm singing along to the ABC songs, and everybody's like, "Who's this?" And then the second supporting act was Top Loader, obviously a bit more younger and popular with some of the youngsters. But it was a great concert. You know, I really enjoyed the experience and stuff like that, and it was something I liked. And I think the only other concert I went to was I think it was Emily Sandé. That was more of like an intimate affair. It was in Edinburgh. So not as many people, it was seated rather than standing. I would probably enjoy going to other concerts and stuff like that. And I've got loads of bands that I wish I had gone and seen at the heyday if I had enough confidence in it. You know what I mean? I would have loved to go and see Guns N' Roses. I would have loved to have seen Prince. You know, these types of people growing up. But it's the social anxiety that really stops me from doing that, you know.
It's
Whereas
funny.
cinema for me, it's like it's a designated seat. You've got room, you know, you can be kind of anonymous sitting there. But I love, you know, I like seeing a movie on my own terms. So I used to go to the cinema once a week. You know, at the time it was just a fiver, so it was just like, you know, a fiver a week. And, you know, I would watch any movie, no matter what it was. I'd just pick a movie for that day. But I really enjoy going with other people, because especially people that enjoy movies as well, because I like the whole concept of discussing the movie before and after. You know, like, what did you think of that, this, and, you know, the characters and what it made you feel like and stuff like that. So it's like total cinemaphile aspect of it, you know. And you can do that with people that enjoy movies. And that's obviously one of the reasons I like going to movies with you, is that we can talk about the movie, you know what I mean? Rather than it just being something to go and see as a pastime, whatever, you know. But I agree with you. I mean, I had a membership. They don't have a membership with View, which I did suggest that they do, but they've never done that. never took that up as an option, but I did get a membership with Dominion, the Dominion in Edinburgh,
Oh yeah,
and that's a really cool cinema because it's like an old school traditional
yeah,
cinema, and part of your membership is you got like a free coffee. The seats were recliners, and you had buffets, you had settees, couches. You had like as part of your membership, you were able to have a private screening, so you bring in your own DVD or Blu-ray, and you had like a private screening with like 10 of your friends or something like that, which I thought was amazing.
yeah,
Uh, and also you could bring within that year like 2 free um, friend pass kind of thing, so you could bring somebody along with you kind of thing. So it was really good. It was just a wee bit more effort to go and visit. Obviously, at the time I was able to drive. I was driving. I had my own car, so it wasn't too much of an issue getting there. But it's not something I can do at the moment because I don't have a car. Whereas convenience wise, my closest cinema is the View in Livingston. Um, Obviously the public transport at the moment is a bit of a nightmare, but
yeah.
I can still get through. But anything further afield is a bit more of an effort to get to.
Mhm.
Um,
Funny, you touched on that because yeah, I see the cinema as escapism, and because I've got the cinema card, I do often see any film that just comes out now, and then but yeah, I like going with people like you, my partner, just like to talk about the film after it as well. Yeah, just the same as you, and just all I like I like trying to conclude a story as well. I try and like go beyond the ending, and then
mm,
sometimes I go home and I write stuff down and I draw like, well, like I'm like, oh, what if this happened or what if that happened? I try and make like a sequel as well. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
so yeah.
That's one of my dreams is to have my name in a film, in the credits of a film, because I like to stay right to the end of a movie, after all the credits have run. Not just for the fact of, post credit scenes, which a lot of movies have, that a lot of people miss out on because they leave the screening before the very end of the movie, and they miss out sometimes a wee key cut scene or in the credit scene kind of thing. But it's
Yeah.
almost like you're giving thanks to absolutely everybody that was involved in a movie, because there's so many people involved. And I've
Mhm.
got this dream one time just to have my name immortalized in a movie, even if it's best tea maker. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? I don't care what it is, but my name's on the screen. You
I
know what I mean?
mean, and it's funny, you touched on like anxiety and all that before I got like sometimes I've spent a few quid on a ticket and then on the day or the night I don't go, or sometimes I've wasted the ticket and I've wasted money and I've not went, and usually it's around this time of month. It's usually around December time, like when it's cold, it's freezing, and I'm like, no, I'm not jumping on a train or I'm not going. I just sacrifice the money, sacrifice the ticket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I think you're a good judge of your own kind of mental health at the time. Like you say, I'm the same. Maybe bought a ticket for something or spent the money on it, and it's just like, I can't manage it. It's just too much effort. Um, and you just, yeah,
Or
you,
there's times where I go to the gig and sometimes I can't enjoy it because in the back of my mind it's like um I've got to get the last train at 10:30, or I've got to leave early, and like you can't enjoy it when you're all worried about, well, I've got to leave and then walk through the tunnel and then walk through, you're thinking of all that, and then it's not just getting the last train home and then like I've got to jump in a taxi or walk another 15 minutes. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's especially on a Sunday. Like Sunday's the worst for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunday public transport is a complete nightmare.
No, I know. No, it affects me as well. I don't drive at the moment. I've not got a license. That's I've been saying it the last couple of years. Like part of me is like I'm lazy as well. I've not really been to it, but I do want to. But yeah, I kind of rely on buses and public transport as well, and it is a struggle right now as well. The way things are going in West Lothian, yeah, with the transport. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully once Lothian takes over, it'll become a bit better, so
Mm.
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So we touched on it a bit earlier in terms of your childhood, but can you go into a bit more about the bullying you had and having to redo your hires?
Yeah. So um, basically since like nursery, primary school, P1 to P7, first year to 6th year, even college, even like a couple of years like when I first started college after school, um, just always bullied, yeah, always been bullied. Because I've never been like the trendy person or just I've always stood out. Um, just everyone just seemed to pick on me, and I was quite quiet and shy. Um, it's only until after I left school I came out my shell and became more like louder and wilder and calm down, yeah. There's a certain person that used to bully me in primary school. He was actually in the newspaper a few years ago. And he's in the jail now, yeah. I remember my mum always said to me like, "Oh, this certain person, like watch him because he'll be trouble when he's older and he'll get rid." Yeah, and it was true, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Aye. Um, yeah, so just that was quite a bad time, especially like high school. High school kind of the worst. I never seemed to be popular. Uh, just again, like everyone seemed to pick on me, but then everyone, like a couple of years later, everyone realised I had a cousin. My cousin, he was more like a sporty, popular kid at school. So the minute like people realised I was his cousin, then people just left me alone. Yeah. Well, there was another certain kid in primary school. He still, um, he used to like bully me quite a lot in school. And then, yeah, unfortunately, he was in the same high school as me as well. And then he bullied me, and then he became, I think, I don't know, like I was on the PlayStation once, like during lockdown, and then I had at the time, he was on the PlayStation, like playing with me, and then all of a sudden, this guy jumped in when it turned out to be like someone I didn't like. Just like I blocked him straight away. Yeah, I was like, oh no, yeah. So that was kind of a blast from the past as well. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but that kind of affected my studies a bit as well. It kind of affected my mood swings when I was younger. It made me not want to go to school, but I went to school. Then during that time as well, I would get bullied at school and then come back, and I would be getting it. I'd be getting hassle my dad all the time. Oh, you're no good at this. You're no good at that. Blah blah blah. And then during my exams in 2005, like going on to do my hires, my mum was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that kind of hit the family a bit. And then that kind of I failed all my hires. Yeah, I failed all my hires in 5th year. Then I kind of failed them in 6th year as well. So so once I left school, worked for a bit, then I went back to Stevenson College at the time, and I redone my hires and got them that way. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so yeah.
And do you think that you know, advice maybe for somebody that's going through something similar, you know, failing hires at high school, you know, going back to reset them at college or university, is a good stepping stone for their education, you know, like, you know, not the attitude or the mindset of not to give up.
Well, yeah, so like coming from my experiences, like don't give up. It's not the be all and end all. Like I think you're still too young. You should be enjoying yourself back then at 15, 14, 15, 16. And like school puts a lot of pressure on kids, teenagers nowadays. And I think deep down it's all about, oh, it has to be the best school that gets the best grades. Like, or James Young has to be better than Inverhammond or better than Dean's High School to be in the charts of schools. I think I know for certain courses, like if you want to be like a doctor or a lawyer, I think you have to pass everything at first sitting. But then I know there is other ways around it. You can go. You, it's not the be all and end all. Like when kids think, "Oh, my life's over, my life's over." I thought that at the time, but then I realised that no, you can go back to college. It took me till 2028 to go back to college, and did my HND, then went to uni that way. Yeah, or even like work experience, get a bit of work experience behind you, and then because that can help you as well. Yeah, and then so yeah, it's not the be and all and end all. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree. Okay, so would you have you got one piece of advice that you would give to the viewers and listeners about what has helped you cope with your struggles?
So I didn't know at the time, but what's helped me through my struggles now is having um that supportive circle around you, your friends, your family if you want to speak to your family. To be honest, I don't feel comfortable speaking to my family about stuff like this, but with my friends, yeah. If you have a partner, I'm comfortable that way. If just fulfill your hobbies as well, like um don't feel judged whatever your hobbies are. Like just do what you want to do, enjoy it. It's your life. Don't bother about others thinking about what you like. Or sometimes I get judged for you go to the cinema too much, or you go to like too much concerts, or you like toys at the age of 35. And like, but that's me. That's what I like. I don't judge other people. So just yeah, don't feel scared to what you like. And if you are feeling like lonely at times, there is like your friends out there. There is supportive groups. There's qualified, certified groups out there that can help you. Like I've been to a couple. I've been to the group sessions as well. You've got your local health centre as well that can refer you to these certain things, and qualified people out there that like mental health advisors, psychologists, doctors that can you just explain to them how you feel, and then they can take it from there. Yeah, and then like even stuff that you like in the telly, the TV, or like playing games. That's just continue doing that. That can be like your like your half an hour time just to get your release and stress free back. Yeah, and then there's going to be times in life where there's been times where I've just looked at a job just because of the money, but I've not thought about
anything else. I've just thought about the money. I went in and it's fallen back in my face. It's not. Yeah, money's good to have, but it's not all about like money. It's about having a good like structured lifestyle, like a working life balance. Yeah, especially when you get older and you're wanting a family and kids as well. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, and then I every time I look at something now, it's not just about money. It's about, oh, if I'm going to have like time off to go to the cinema, time off to have a couple hours on PlayStation, or yeah, so stuff like that. Yeah. Or something.
Excellent. So if there's anything that you want to share in terms of groups or links, or things that you found helpful, I'll put them into the show notes, and we can have that for people, some reference, even links to cinema cinema membership passes and stuff like that. But no, it's I really appreciated your time today. I'm glad we managed to get chatting about things. Hopefully, yeah, it's been useful for you as well, and some of the information there might help somebody else out there to help them move forward as well. So really appreciate your time, and thanks for coming on today.
I know worries. That's great. It's definitely thanks for your time as well. Yeah, thank you.
Please like, share, and comment. Your opinions matter. Thanks very much.